Howdy, with this video, want to go over the assignment for Friday. Generally with the fiction, it's going to follow a bit of a pattern. We may do different types of responses, but you're going to have a reading assignment, then you're going to have to go to a short lecture with the responses, and then you're going to do a response based on the readings and that lecture. So for Friday, you should be reading the excerpt from Bradford's on Plymouth Plantation. It says Journal of the Original Pilgrims Coming Over to the New World. There are plenty of people already here. And we're also going to read the excerpt from the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin and the Declaration of Independence. Those readings are on D2L. You won't really need your book until next Tuesday, or for the assignments for next Tuesday. But if you go to D2L, to the table of contents, if you come down here to readings and viewings, you'll see the Bradford excerpt, the Declaration of Independence, and the excerpt from the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. And you should be reading those. Once you read those, you're going to go to responses, and you'll see response number 2 right there. We're going to start with the Enlightenment. Well, actually, with Bradford, he's one of the Puritans, one of the original Europeans to come over here. Not the original, but they came with a distinct purpose. We tend to think of the Puritans and the Pilgrims as kind of these witch-hanging crazy people, but they're children of the Renaissance. You're going to see they're very literate. They're interested in the development of the individual, but within a very strict framework. And also, you're going to see them as children of the Reformation. You're going to see this big influence of John Calvin in terms of the religious beliefs, the idea that God works in this world. You're going to see in Bradford's writing that God doesn't like the sailor, and bam, smites him right there on the ship. And Bradford says this is how God works. God works within our world, so does Satan. And there's we're kind of in the middle of this big fight. Also, you're going to see the Puritans are big history buffs. They want to see how they fit into history, how they fit into biblical history, how they're fulfilling that history. So they're big into journals. They want to make sure they're on the right path, so they write these journals. Just fascinating people, extremely literate, and kind of fascinating to read. But you're going to start with response number 2. There it goes. And you're going to see a short lecture there. It's going to kind of introduce these literary movements. We're going to get into some of the limitations of them. I'm not going to read it for you. But again, we're going to start with the Enlightenment, kind of the stage right after the Puritans. I hate to do that. Puritans are a fascinating group to study. But we're going to start with the Enlightenment. You've got to start somewhere, basically. And you're going to see a short lecture. I like to use art to kind of as an example. Sometimes it's easier to see something happening than it is to, read everything. Also, maybe hopefully some architecture in there. The Enlightenment folks were very neoclassical. You're going to see this throwback to the Greek and Roman ideas of balance, proportion within the architecture. And the lecture is going to talk about that. Then you're going to see the prompt for response number 2 at the bottom. Don't overthink this too much. Looking for a 150-word response. Once you use the MLA formatting, you're going to have a works digest page and a quote within your response, but also just basic MLA formatting for the paper, which I'll talk about here in a second. And also the YouTube videos go over that a little bit. And it should be submitted as a Word document. Please don't submit in PDF or Pages. I can't read Pages, and I can't grade on PDF. I can't make commentary on that. So I need it in Word. If you're working in Google Docs or on a MacBook, make sure you're downloading or exporting it to Word and then submitting it to the Dropbox. But you got a couple of questions there. You only have to answer one of the questions. You don't have, if you get a longer one like this, you don't have to address every single question within that prompt. But kind of show me you've read the works and thought about them and can relate them a little bit to that lecture. And but keep it simple. If you write 1,000 words, you don't get any extra credit. In fact, it's just more for me to grade, right? Or more for me to grade and find things wrong with. So 150 words, 200, 250. After that, kind of start thinking to get out of the assignment a little bit. To show you an example, here's one from last summer. Notice she has her paper formatted correctly, last name and page number in the header. Then her name, my name, class and section number and date. I need a title. For these, just response number 2 is fine. When we get to the essays, we'll try and be a little more creative. Or if you like being creative with your titles, go ahead and do that. Short story titles, short works get quote marks. The autobiography of Benjamin Franklin will be italics because it's a longer work, can be published independently. But she's responding to the work. Here she has her quote. Again, you need a quote, and you need to put the work on the works status page there. She introduces the quote with the full sentence, so she uses a colon, gives the quote word for word, ends the quote, gives a citation, which will be the first word on the works status page. Again, that third YouTube video kind of goes over this. Finish up her ideas. That's a little over 150 words. She does a good job, discussing one of the questions and showing us that she read the work. This is what your works status page should look like. It's a little different for the declaration. If you're going to quote from that, I'll probably show you how to do that in an email. But for stuff online, or on D2L at least, you want to give the author's last name, comma, first name, the title of the document. Then you're just going to show you got it off D2L. So the class, section number, D2L, and then Northeast State Community College. That's all you really need. You don't really want the URL there, because if I click that URL, it'll just take me to a login page and won't do me any good. But once you're done with this, you're going to put it in the Dropbox in the folder, and you'll have your second response paper done. Usually the first written one like this, it's kind of like pulling teeth a little bit. You're trying to figure it out. But hopefully when we get towards the essay and everything, you're going to be kind of running right along there. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. But we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.